Okay, so hi everyone. Actually, this is first time for me in Budapest. I just came in the morning and just joined the conference, so I'm very happy to be with you today. My name is Moataz Nabil. I'm working as a developer advocate at BitRise. So mainly BitRise is a mobile CI/CD platform as a service. So mainly we are working with the mobile developers and the mobile engineers to trying to accelerate their daily works and try to build and release faster with the good quality as well. So because of that, today I selected topic because usually we have problems in development, releasing, testing, and everything related to the software development lifecycle in general. Because that, I decided to today to talk about how mobile DevOps can accelerate a mobile development. Actually, it's in general about how DevOps can accelerate our software development, our daily works. So from blockers, as we know, we have different problems. We are working with different teams, silos team, they are not working together. So at the end, you will find that the team is not collaborate together and we have different problems which is affect our releases, testing, and everything. So as I told you, previously I was working as a software engineer, and then I worked as a software engineer in test. Then now I'm focusing more in mobile DevOps and CI/CD, and currently I'm working, as I mentioned, with BitRise. So at the beginning, let's assume that all of us working with one company or one team, and we have different challenges. So we sit together and start discussing what the problem that we have in our team. So for example, when we are trying to release new feature, this is mainly not related actually to mobile, it's in general. But today I will focus just an example for the mobile development. So when we are releasing new features, it takes long time. So sometimes it takes 2 months, sometimes 3 months, maybe 6 months. I heard before from one company that they are working in Agile and Scrum, but they are releasing every 6 months. So I didn't understand how this is Agile, but this can be a problem because the process, the tools that they are using, and all the things. Then it's difficult to ship code. So we don't have a clear process or way to release our apps or our features and so on. So it's mainly manual effort, and it takes time because it's required the human interaction. So because of that, it's difficult to ship the code as well. And also, we have inflexible and fragile CI or continuous integration or continuous integration server. So sometimes, if you are using something like in-house CI server, or we are owning the infrastructure, we have different problems. So for example, if we are using, let's say, all the tools, so sometimes the connections between the devices is lost, and we have different, so we can't run our UI test. This is a problem on nightly build. The machines are hanging, so we have a different problem in the network connections. So this is something called inflexible and fragile CI. So mainly we are spending our developer hours to fixing the CI or the infrastructure to be able to release our application. And it takes time and effort to perform the manual testing as well. So we don't have test automation or automating testing in our platform, which is affecting as well our releases, because if we are still relying on the manual effort, so now testing team will take time to try to test the application, especially in mobile applications. We have different platforms, we have different OS versions, so we need to test on every device, which is can be including human errors as well. So the manual testing taking a long time, which is also affecting our releases and our process. And for sure, as a result, we are releasing every 2 months, this is the normal result. And also, we don't have a security testing, which is something important in our platform, or especially currently, security testing is mandatory for all the software development or mobile applications. So as we know, during the pandemic, usually every day we are using mobile apps, e-banking, or anything. We are saving our credit cards, username and passwords, so security testing is important as well. So because after we as I mentioned, sit together and decided, okay, these all our challenges, so how we can tackle these challenges. So what the process or what the model that we can use with this or to fix or to tackle all of these challenges. And also again, additionally, while teams work in different modules, and now if we are working with a Scrum or Agile or squads or tribes, so many like teams can, for example, one team is dedicated or working with one feature, they didn't know anything about the other teams, and the collaboration is become difficult, and also the synchronization or the collaboration between the team has become more difficult as well. So we need to find a process or a solution to be able to tackle all of these challenges. So this is the question, what is the process? So how we can remove all the impediments that we have in the process and try to move faster and try to release frequently our mobile application. So the answer is a mobile DevOps, or let's remove the mobile, it's a DevOps in general. So DevOps is removing silos, or like removing the impediments between teams and try to accelerate your software development. But it should including different process, practices, and like tools as well to help the team to accelerate their build. So a mobile DevOps is like, you can start from the measuring, so we can start discuss what are the important features that will work on it in the next release, for example. How can we choose a CI/CD strategy? How we can building our application, so the coding process, everything inside this building step. Testing, how we can test our application. Shall we implement the UI testing, unit testing, integration, and so on. And releasing as well as the last one, and then monitoring application. So it's not only for releasing the application and just it, no, we should monitor the application or the website after we deploy our application to the production. So mobile DevOps is a CI/CD or a continuous integration and a continuous delivery process for build and release like the applications frequently and quickly as well. So here we have 6 key elements in the process. The continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous monitoring, continuous testing, and continuous deployment or continuous delivery. And this is like the key elements of the mobile. So it's something continuously we are doing it inside the team. It's not like one shot, or not like we implemented this tool for CI server, okay, we agree about this process and just it. No, it's something continuously. So for example, we already have a release, or we had a release and we had different issues in this release, so we decided to add in the backlog enhancements or like revamp the features or add new features. Then we can continuously communicate together, continuous planning together, and also continuous integration. Once we have a piece of code or we need to change anything in the code, so we need to make or to run the CI server to make sure that the source code is not affecting or we don't have any problem in this one. Continuous delivery, deployment to release our application to the App Store or to the production environment, and continuous testing and monitoring. So for me, personally, I believe that DevOps or mobile DevOps is not only tools. So tools, okay, is like one factor in the process itself. But I believe it's about the people, culture, mindset, commitment, and the process itself. So we should agree about the process, how we can handle the RFC, how we can handle if we have a new feature, how we can release it. Do we have a definition of done for release features? Is it tested? Is this deployed correctly? Is this reviewed from the different teams? Something like this. So because that process is about team culture, mindset, so we should agree about that we are one team, we have one goal, so we should accept this mindset. We should like move forward together as a one team, like Agile or Scrum, and we should have a commitment as well. And for the process, maybe we can adapt the Agile or Scrum. We need to agree about the process for the RFC. We need to agree about the process for code review. If, for example, the test engineers are writing code or writing test script, maybe we need to, like developers to review this code and vice versa. So maybe the developers can write UI tests and the test engineers can review it and so on. How we can handle the incident management if we have a live issue or we have a problem or bug in the live production, how we can handle this. And feature flags, so how we can release the new features. So are we using feature flags? So we can release our application behind feature flags. And if we have any problem in the life, so we can just like disable this feature on fly, which will not be displayed again in the application. So until you fix this problem. So feature flag also, maybe we can adapt to this one. And then for tools, maybe we can agree about what is the best test automation framework in our team. As I know, and from my previous experience, that there is no like a magic wand. So every team should agree about which tool is suitable for them, which test automation framework is suitable for their business, and so on. And releasing, monitoring. So at the end, you will find you can implement now the continuous integration, delivery, and deployment, because at the end, you have a tools, a process, and the mindset. The benefits of mobile DevOps, as we know, or as I mentioned, is for faster deployment. So if we applied the mobile DevOps and we didn't define it, it's like we don't have a faster deployment, so we have a problem in the process, because this is the main benefit. So we are now like moving from blocker to enabler. So now we are enabling DevOps to move the team or to move the process to be to be faster. So we should have a faster deployment and a quick delivery to market. Improve the customer satisfaction, because if we usually get the feedback early and often, which will increase our productivity and we will enhance the features, it will release faster, so customers now are satisfied. But if we are releasing every 2 months or every 6 months, so the customer now will leave us, or we will add, if we are, for example, working with mobile apps, they can leave us like a negative or bad review in the App Store, this is the main the important point for any mobile application. If you open the mobile application and check the App Store and you find negative review on the app, so you will uninstall this application, because you check the review for this application. Seamless operations, so it's remove the impediments between the teams and improve the communication and productivity. And increase employee engagement. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we have a continuous feedback, continuous discussion, so which is the collaboration will be increased during the team with different teams, from the DevOps team, testing team, development, and so on. So recently I was reading this ebook, and actually I highly recommend it. It's about the science behind DevOps. So it's mainly about a survey. And they are doing, it's not like a new ebook, it's from long time, but actually in this ebook they did like a survey between different organizations and the teams, try to figure out what are the key processes or the key elements to enhance or to accelerate the software development in general, not related to mobile. So they found, or the summary about this ebook, they found that we have a 6 key process trying to implement inside, or they asked the different companies about this key process, and they found these key processes increasing the productivity and accelerate the DevOps cycle. The first one, use trunk-based development process. So don't use a long life branch. For example, if you are using GitHub and you have a branch, so this is a feature and this branch will be open for 6 months. You will have at the end the problems in merging and everything. So the first recommendation, use trunk-based development, which is small batches or small branches, just merge it, delete the branch, and so on. So trunk-based, so this is something that, and the key element here, or the message here, or the target, we need always keep master green. This is the target. So we need always keep master green. So we don't need to have problems in conflicts. We will still will continue or invest our time to fix these problems and so on. Implement test automation. This is the second recommendation, because as we know, automation, removing the human interactions as much as we can. So then after that, we can automate all the repetitive tasks or all the repetitive use cases in every BR, on every code change, a nightly build, to make sure that there is no any change affecting our source code. Shift left on security, which is moving from security or testing the security of the application from, or on the production, to the early stages. So in development, we should run the security checks to make sure that there is no any vulnerabilities or anything related to the security issues. Automate the deployment process, which is automate the deployment and which is the continuous integration, the continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Support test data management, how we can handle test data management, especially if we have like mobile application and we have different countries, we have different languages, we have different locals, so we need always to test with different test data. And the sixth point is implement continuous integration and continuous delivery. So because that, for example, I mentioned that I will like talking about a mobile example today, which is this is how we are helping the developers or mobile developers to accelerate their works. So it's built by developers. So mainly we are developers or mobile engineers, and they know everything about, or not everything, know more about the problems that usually we are facing when we are developing mobile apps. So because of that, we think about solutions always to like help developers to accelerate their builds. So our main message is we spend the less time on tasks that slow developers down and the more time on the code that matters. So don't spend your time to fix the infrastructure. So I remember when we were using like all the tools or obsolete tools, we were spending like almost 1 day or 2 days to trying to fix the infrastructure or trying at least to like make the CI server running. And then after that, we will start thinking about what we will writing in our code or in our application, which is, don't spend the time for like tasks that like you spend from developers hour, which is for sure is high important for us. So we are mainly helping the developers the mobile developers to operate better the mobile apps faster. So for example here, this is a pipeline, CI/CD pipeline workflow. And actually, it's only for mobile, so we are not supporting a web or API or backend, but it's only for a mobile application. So this is how they can set up your CI/CD workflow. You are like drag from like 300 steps related to deployment, testing, releasing, send a notification, and for caching application, and add different workflows together, managing its secrets, environment variables, and so on. No hardware to maintain, which is because totally it's platform as a service, it's on cloud, so we can just manage which platform you wanted to switch. So we have a Mac OS and the Linux machines as well for Android and iOS and different mobile applications. So here also, this is how we can configure the steps. So we have just drag and drop with the steps with different tasks. So each step can also can do one task only. For example, this build the APK, this run the UI test, this like run the iOS application, and so on. So this is how we can like think about the big picture of DevOps or a mobile DevOps. So now in each stage you can implement or you can use different steps. For example, in testing, you can use a third-party tool like Sauce Labs or Browser Stack or AWS Device Farm. For example, for monitoring, you can use Firebase, Crashlytics, and Datadog or Instabug. So in each stage or in each step in the application lifecycle management, you can think about how can I implement it. So as I mentioned at the beginning, there is no like a magic wand or no silver bullet, but you need to build or you need to choose which tools is suitable for you. So now let's start implementing or talking about how we can implement the 6 points that we mentioned, the recommendation from the ebook with the tools that we have. So now implement test automation. So in this case, test automation is a vital part of a mobile DevOps. It's the backbone of the DevOps. So we can't ignore the mobile or the test automation. And also testing is a whole team approach. So it's not about, we have QA engineers, so they are responsible for testing, so I don't care as a developer. No, testing should be a whole team approach. Maybe we can working together for writing a UI test and maybe writing unit test integration and so on. So testing is important, and just so you can select which framework or tools that you can use in your platform. And also we should agree about this strategy and the plan inside our team, because it was a very important point about implement test automation. Shift left on security. Shift left, the meaning of shift left, previously, or we have different companies testing on the production. So this is called shift right. So all the team, even if they are working with Agile or Scrum, the testers need to wait until the developers to finish the feature or to finish the build, and then they will get the build and start testing, or maybe they can test on the production, which is called shift right. But now we need to move to the code itself. We need to move to the early stages, which is the shift left. So here in each new code or in each change, we can run the security testing. Here, they mentioned that shift left on security, but I believe shift left in testing in general. So in every code change, you can build the application or build the website, run the UI tests, run unit test integration, run security checks as well, and then you can make sure that there is no any dependency issues, there is no any problem in the security, the UI test is passing already, and there is no any problem in application, so you can merge the code now. But previously in the production, this is like something risky, but also you can handle it with the feature flags as well. So shift left is approached for taking action of the testing, moving left to in the delivery pipeline, or testing a software lifecycle, something like we are moving to the left side. And also security, because security, as I mentioned, is becoming more important than ever, and we need to make sure that we are adding our security testing in the pipeline or the delivery pipeline as well. Automate the deployment process. This was also one of the 6 keys, which is we need to make sure that we automating the process for submitting the application or deploying the application to the production. So here we have a continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Continuous delivery is just required at the end, the manual approval from the release manager or anyone who is responsible for the releases. Or continuous deployment can be fully automated just in every code change. Maybe we can deploy directly to the production, which is for mobile is challenging a little bit because you are deploying it to the App Store, which is required a review from Apple or Google Play Store. But at the end, you can automating the process, the whole process till the submitting to the App Store, and just you need to wait until the App Store to accept this change. You have a code signing application. For example, here in our platform, we have a step for code signing, which is sign the application before releasing it to be able to submit it to the App Store, or managing the certificates for iOS application. And we have a deploy step, can deploy it to Google Play Store, to Apple Store, and Firebase app distribution, for example, for beta testing, or Microsoft App Center as well. So, for example, let's assume that this is the mobile release cycle, or like software life cycle. So we started the release. We should have this big picture or this workflow. We are running a unit test in every. Maybe can be different workflows, but at the end, this is the whole approach. So once we started the release, we can run the unit test, increment the build number because it's a new build, create the RC or release candidate version, upload to the testing. So testing here can be automating, it can be for beta testers, it can be regression, and also we can have different approvals like the release managers, the stakeholders, and if there is any bug found in the release, we can start from the beginning, we can fix the release early, and then we can run again the build and the test workflow, and again we can submit it to the beta testing. If we have everything is okay, so we can submit to the App Store, we can also upload the metadata, the release notes, the screenshots, everything related to the mobile apps to the App Store, and then the build approved, which is this is the last step in the release cycle. Implement the CI/CD or continuous integration and continuous delivery. So now we have also another challenge. So shall we go to the cloud? So shall we select a cloud vendor, or moving our CI/CD server to cloud? So usually they recommend cloud-based CI server because it's a better choice other than the self-hosted on-premise solution, because it's a cost less time and the money, so you don't care about the infrastructure or anything. It's a platform as a service, so you are just managing your application. which is for sure it's a cost less time and the money. It's offer reliable and robust security because you are like working with a vendor which is give you any security checks or something related to the GDPR or anything related to security. It's demands on like minimal configuration, so you are not aware you are not working with the whole infrastructure. You just need to configure your application, and it shows a stress-free time saving from the CI/CD. So it's also helping us to saving our hours or saving the developer hours, because this is the main problem. When we are spending time for hours, we just need to like saving the developer hours to work on something in the application itself instead of an infrastructure. So mainly this is the example for the cloud CI/CD. You can connect your application or your code from any source code from Bitbucket, GitHub, or GitLab. Adding steps for building, testing, deploying, for like unit test, UI test, any third-party vendors, deploy to the App Store or like App Center or anything, and then you can also deploy to the quality assurance and the testing as well. I think we don't have time for demo, but right, we don't have time. It's 4 minutes.
We have 4 minutes.
Okay. So I think maybe we can have a quick demo. Just I wanted to show you how we can like connect our application. So let's log in. So here, for example, this is the dashboard. Here I can connect any Flutter application, Android, iOS, Ionic. So we are supporting mostly all the mobile application. So just I can add application or a new application. I can just click. This will be a private application. This is my team, and then I click next. Then it's provide us where is the source code. So it's in GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, or other. It can be also hosted. So for example, let's assume that I will use a GitHub, and this is my account, for example, and I need to use Espresso. This is, for example, Android application. Now it's asking you, shall we add the SSH key to be able to access the source code and like clone the source code to our platform? No, maybe I don't need it. And here I need to select the branch. It's the wizard. And now this is like, I call it the magic step. So now we are scanning the application to check which type of the platform this application is. So it's Android or iOS or Flutter or React Native, then it will give me, the scanner will give me the recommended stack or recommended machine for me. So it's detected already as Android application, and here this is a directory, so I can select the module which is app, and here, for example, I can select the debug as a variant, and this is the text tag. For example, I can also edit it from here. So here, for example, I have Xcode. This is the latest Xcode version, but for example, because it's Android, so it's give me the Docker installed on Linux machine, because I will use it for Android, but for sure you can change it to Xcode, but it's not required because it's Android, so you don't need iOS or Xcode or anything on the macOS machine. And here you can switch between different machine types, and then I can select and configure, which is automatically managed on the cloud. This is the app icon, I can select it. And now I can register a webhook for me, so in every code change, so it can trigger the workflow for me, and just I will start the build. So now I just created the first CI workflow. So this is the first build. It's now running, so it's give you in, like, this is the details in the log view. So here, this is the SSH. You have here like a default workflow. You have a cache step, but till now, it's for the first time we add this application, so we don't have any cache. This step helping us to cache the dependencies to accelerate the build and speed up the build time. So now we are now installing any missing Android tools. And still, or until it's finished, so I can click on Edit Workflow. Here I will find the default workflow. For sure, you can change it, you can remove it, you can add another workflow. Here you have a different tabs for code signing, secrets, environment variables for trigger. So this is the workflow. So for example, after unit test, I can click here and I can, for example, select a virtual device, which will run the UI test on Firebase Test Lab internally. So I don't need to add any cloud configuration or any cloud steps for me. I just here, it will take the APK from the first step, so which is the Android test, or I can add another step, for example, for build the application. So here I can like Android build, which is give me the APK. So here this is the environment variables or the output from this step. It will give me the APK, the path, and then in this step, it will take the APK from the environment variable. So here I need to select the device to run the UI test on this device on Cloud Firebase. This device is supporting 30 API version, and it will be an instrumentation test. And here I can have also run a robo test or game robo. This is the testing type on Firebase Test Lab. And just it. So I can like replace the steps. I can add more steps. I can from here, I can add the code signing, which will help me to automatically sign the application for the Android Key Store, or the here is only for Android Key Store. If it's iOS application, it will be managing the certificates. Here I can add the secrets, which is like environment variable, but secrets are not exposed in the logs. And here, this is a normal environment variable like the model, the variant, and the project location. This is a trigger map, which can be managed with the GitHub map. So, for example, in every pull request, I can say on every pull request, I can run the primary workflow, for example. And in every tag, I can specify another workflow. So now, this is the trigger map. So this is, we can handle it. For example, on every pull request, we can run a specific workflow to run the UI test or a specific scope. But nightly build, maybe before the releasing, we can add another workflow to run all the steps. So now the build is finished, succeeded. So it's only take 1 minute because it's not including a lot of steps. It's only running the unit test and finish the steps. So, and also at the end, I can find here the artifacts, but I don't have because I didn't configure the application yet. And here I have a test report, which can include the testing result from any step that uses. So also still I didn't configure it, but if I run the step that I configure here or the workflow that I configured here, so I can have the UI test and then I can run it. Also, one thing, so I can start the build manually or it can be automatically based on the Git flow or the trigger map as I mentioned. So here we can schedule this build to be scheduled like a nightly build. You can select the date, you can the hour, for example, it can be at 10 p.m. for example, and the schedule, which will schedule your build, so it will run every weekday at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. And here you can have advanced, you can trigger with git tag, a message, and you can also have a different workflow, and you can add another keys and things here. So this is mainly the platform that we have. So you need to connect your application, your code base, just you start building whatever it's iOS or Android, it's cross-platform. So for example, here we have a Flutter application as well. And you can have Flutter steps. So if, for example, if you go to the workflow, you can have also specific steps for Flutter, like Flutter install, analyze, test, and Flutter build, for example. So this was like a quick demo. And yeah, as the end takeaways from this presentation, so DevOps, as I believe, is a mindset, culture, process, and the tools. It's not only about tooling. You need to select which is suitable for your team. Quality is more important than quantity, so we need to take care about test automation and the quality of our features. Test automation is a vital part of mobile DevOps. And CI/CD, or continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment, is a coordination process, which help us to accelerate our process. Testing is a whole team approach. It's not only responsible for QA or testing teams. And as we know, customers are the center of everything. So once we get feedback early and often, so we can add this feedback to our backlog, and then we can start developing these features and release it faster and so on. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's a journey, not destination. So it's not only one thing we implemented and just it. No, it's something continuously we are working on. It's a journey, so it's including a lot of challenges. Every time we have different challenges, we need to tackle it and so on. And thank you.
All right, Moataz, thank you for the really good rundown on the demo. I love demos, so that's why I was encouraging it, because I really enjoy presentations with demos. We have Slido up, and if you have your questions, please put them in Slido. We're happy to answer them. We do have a question here on Slido. The question is, what is your recommendation on the test strategy hierarchy, unit tests, integration tests, I don't know if that fits, or how does BitRise help in that?
Okay, so for me, testing strategy should including the different testing levels. So here we are comparing between unit and integration, which is 2 levels. So if you know the premise of testing, so we have the low or the first stage on this pyramid is a unit test. Then we have integration. Then we have end-to-end, and we can have a UI testing, which is a pyramid. So all of these levels are required, but we need to decide who will be responsible for what. So for example, the unit test is the responsibility of the developers, but the integration, maybe test engineers, if they have a knowledge or they know more about code, they can help us in the integration. End-to-end testing, or like the full system, not full system, but like testing the scenarios and everything related to the front end and the features can be responsible for the QA team, for example. So I recommended to use all of them, but in like with different responsibilities and with different teams. And how does BitRise help? So at the end, we are running what you have inside your application. So if you have a unit test, we have a step for running unit test. If you have integration, at the end it will be testing. So we have steps for testing UI, testing unit test. You need to run instrumentation test, which is required like emulator or simulator, or you need to run only unit test. So you need to just Java JDK or Java installed on the machine, which is already installed in the machine or in the VM that we are using. So we have different steps for supporting testing. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. We have another question here. What is your opinion on Microsoft App Center as a step in mobile CI process?
For me, I tried before. I was working in previous company, and we were using Microsoft App Center for releasing the beta versions of the applications. But actually, we moved it to Firebase Test Lab. So I don't know more about Microsoft App Center. I know they have already a testing steps or testing process for testing on real devices. But for me, actually, I just tried it with this. And so for me, I recommend this. So for example, if you are comparing between tools or services, you can create like a BOC project, or you can like start comparing, like try to implement something. So for example, I wanted to test, deploy, like run unit test or UI test in this platform, and I need to run in this platform. Then I will start comparing between them, which is suitable for me, which is not. The pricing as well will be a factor in the choice. So all of these are affecting my time. But for me, I tried it before with just like beta testing and UI testing.
Got it, thank you. And we have another question from Gabor. On which cloud provider are you running on, and how can you guarantee the separation of your customers? That's the first question.
As I know, I think, so maybe this, not, but I think we are running on Google Cloud, as I know, but I'm not sure. I'm sorry, what was the second part in the question?
Yeah, can we get the other question back? No?
I think it was about EC2, something
yeah. Can you run it in EC2? Where's Gabor?
Maybe he is.
So maybe you can run back to him. And he also has another one about pricing. So how about pricing?
We have different pricing models. So we have pricing model for startups, we have for enterprise, we have for like big teams. So it's always based on what you need. So for example, if you are a small team, maybe you are building Android application only, so you don't need Mac machines, which is maybe can cost more from the Linux machines. So it's always based on like the setup of the team, how many developers you have, and what you need to run. And maybe you required I need to run on the fastest machine that you have, because our application is including a lot of dependencies, which is taking a long time. So that's another requirement. But maybe your request is just I wanted to run only the Android application, which is not a huge, so it can be a different pricing model. But we have already a pricing page, so you can check which pricing package is suitable for you, including all the features, including in this package. And you can, for sure, you can ask us as well if you need help and you don't know which pricing model is suitable for you.
So just to build on that question, so that means that BitRise doesn't provide a device farm. You have to get that from like AWS. So if I want to do some testing,
we have already. So
okay.
We have VMs, which is a Mac OS or Linux. We have steps to run the UI test in our like the emulators or simulators, like your local machines. But maybe sometimes it's slower than the cloud device. So then in this step, you decided, okay, I will use a Firebase step. Because I have already a Google account, for example, Firebase account, and I can just configure it, and I can take my APK and test the APK, for example, and run on Firebase. Maybe another customers, they have already a Sauce Lab account, so just you need to configure it with the secrets that we have, and we have steps already for taking the artifacts and running on Sauce Lab. If they satisfied with our local devices on the local VMs, okay, so at the end it's integrated already with a test report, you will get the result and that's it. So we are supporting both.
Got it, so it's pretty flexible and kind of works through your steps and how you're progressing through it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, again, thank you, Moataz, for sharing today. A little have a round of applause for him. Thank you for sharing here.